There is a civilization, 4,000 years old, that built planned cities with running water, copper foundries, and standardized weights and measures. Its citizens carved seals with intricate pictographic symbols and used them to mark goods. We have found over 4,000 of these inscriptions. We do not know what a single one says. After more than a century of scholarly attention, the writing of the Indus Valley civilization remains the most studied undeciphered script on Earth. The civilization itself was lost almost as completely as its writing. Between roughly 2600 and 1900 BC, the Indus Valley culture covered an area larger than ancient Egypt and Mesopotamia combined, across what is today Pakistan and northwestern India. Its two largest cities, Mohenjo-daro and Harappa, each housed perhaps 40,000 people. They had perpendicular streets, public bath complexes, multi-story houses with private wells, and a drainage system more sophisticated than what most European cities had until the 19th century. When British surveyors stumbled across the ruins in the 1820s, they assumed they were medieval. The site of Harappa was first noticed by an army deserter named James Lewis, who in 1828 saw locals quarrying ancient bricks for railway ballast and reported the find to the East India Company. Nobody investigated systematically for 90 years. By the time R.D. Banerjee arrived at Mohenjo-daro in 1922, half the bricks of Harappa had been carted away to build the Lahore-Multan Railway. The civilization was being unmade before anyone realized what it had been. When excavations finally began in earnest, the seals appeared, small, square, beautifully carved. Most measure under 3 centimeters on a side. They are typically made of steatite, a soft soapstone, fired hard after carving. The face of each seal shows an animal, most commonly a unicorn-like figure, with a single curved horn, but also bulls, elephants, rhinoceroses, tigers, and composite mythological beasts. Above the animal is a row of pictographic symbols. The symbols are the script. There are about 400 distinct signs by current count, though the precise number is contested. They appear in horizontal lines, usually only 4 to 7 signs per inscription. Most surviving texts are extremely short, 5 or 6 characters average. Some seem to be names, some seem to be titles, some are clearly numerical with marks for 1s and 10s. Beyond that, we are guessing. The decipherment problem comes from 3 things. First, the inscriptions are too short. The Egyptian hieroglyphs were cracked using long bilingual texts, like the Rosetta Stone. The Indus inscriptions are mostly the length of a Twitter handle. There is no way to compare phrase against phrase. Second, there is no bilingual. Although the Indus civilization traded with Mesopotamia, Indus seals have been found in the ruins of Akkadian Ur. No Mesopotamian text translates an Indus phrase, and no Indus text translates a Mesopotamian one. Third, we do not know what language the Indus people spoke. The most popular hypothesis is that the language was an early Dravidian, ancestor of modern Tamil and Malayalam. The competing hypothesis is that it was an early Indo-Aryan, ancestor of Sanskrit. The two hypotheses imply different families of phonetic values for the symbols. Neither has one. The most determined modern attempt at decipherment is by the Finnish scholar Asko Parpola, who has worked on the script for 60 years. Parpola argues for the Dravidian hypothesis on multiple grounds. Certain symbol combinations seem to correspond to Dravidian word patterns. Certain animals appearing on seals match Dravidian sacred animal vocabulary, and the Indus civilization's territory broadly overlaps with the area where Dravidian languages are believed to have been spoken before the spread of Indo-Aryan languages from the north. He has proposed possible readings for individual symbols. None has been accepted as conclusive. The most provocative recent argument has come from a different direction. In 2004, the American computational linguist Steve Farmer, with collaborators Richard Sproat and Michael Witzel, published a paper arguing that the Indus script is not a writing system at all. Their case rests on statistical patterns. Real writing systems, they argue, show certain frequency distributions of symbol combinations. Common symbols repeat in long sequences, common bigrams cluster, and so on. The Indus inscriptions, Farmer's group claimed, do not show these patterns. They look more like emblems or proto-symbols than like an actual script encoding language. The response from other scholars was sharp. A 2009 paper in Science by Rajesh Rao and colleagues at the University of Washington applied statistical entropy analysis to the Indus inscriptions and found that the symbol distributions did fall within the range expected of natural languages, neither too rigidly structured to be writing, nor random enough to be decoration. Their conclusion was tentative, but clear. The inscriptions show enough linguistic structure to support the hypothesis that they encode language. The debate continues. Both sides have published follow-up papers. What is striking about the Indus civilization, beyond the unread script, is how unlike its contemporaries it appears to be. Sumerian and Egyptian rulers left grand royal tombs, statues of themselves, monumental inscriptions celebrating their deeds. The Indus people left almost none of this. There are no large statues identifiable as kings, no royal tombs, no clear capital city. Mohenjo-daro and Harappa were comparable in size and infrastructure. The civilization seems to have organized itself in a way that did not produce the kind of identifiable ruler classes archaeologists know how to read elsewhere. Then, around 1900 BC, the cities began to depopulate. Drainage systems were no longer maintained. Squatters moved into structures that had once been planned middle-class housing. The trade with Mesopotamia ended. By 1700 BC, Mohenjo-daro and Harappa were largely abandoned. The cause is debated. The leading current hypothesis is hydrological. The Great Sarasvati River, mentioned in later Indian texts and once a major waterway across the Indus territory, gradually shifted course and dried up due to tectonic shifts and climate change. Without it, the rural agricultural base collapsed, and the cities followed. The script went with the cities. The people of the Indus did not vanish. Their genetic descendants are the present-day populations of Pakistan and northwest India, but their writing was no longer needed for the kind of urban administration that had created it. The seals stopped being made. The symbols stopped being remembered. Sanskrit, brought by later Indo-Aryan speakers, became the literate language of the subcontinent. Whatever the Indus people had written about themselves was lost. We may yet read the Indus script. New techniques, machine learning trained on known undeciphered scripts, more sensitive statistical models, possibly the discovery of a longer inscription somewhere in an unexcavated site, could break it open. But the underlying problem may not be solvable. With 400 symbols and no certain language and no bilingual and no tradition of long texts, the cryptographic challenge approaches mathematical limits. The most honest answer to what the Indus seals say is still, we do not know. After 100 years of trying, and at a level of effort that did crack Egyptian hieroglyphs and Mycenaean Linear B and Mayan glyphs, the Indus script remains the largest body of pre-modern writing in the world that no one can read.